morning. I know probably everybody's going to show up here at noon because the hours have changed. Plus, it's Mercury retrograde. Now we've got this exciting full moon that is telling us, oh my gosh, there's changes and vision in the air. But today is a very special day for many reasons, not just because I get to be able to share with all of you lovely people, but it's Woman's Day. And when you think of spiritualism, you have to think of women. You have to think of those ladies who, as spiritualists, have come and been able to stand and allow themselves to bring forth what I call the soft powers. Yes, once upon a time, women weren't allowed to speak publicly unless they were channeling. And boy, what have I had a problem with that. But obviously, from a past life or something like that, you know, it's like, she's going to speak this time. But, you know, when you think about it, and you think about historically the feminine energy coming into play, there were 12 million spiritualists at the turn of the century. What did that tell you about this country? What did it tell you about women? What did it tell you about the feminine power that we all possess within inside of us, whether we are male or female? You know, we look at all the different aspects of what is a soft power. Courage is a soft power. You know, courage is what we in our hearts come to do, to be the people that we are, to show that energy of love from our heart. You know, it's interesting. I was listening to Dr. Oz, and Dr. Oz is a cardiologist from New York and obviously famous by his TV show and other things. But he was talking to Deepak Chopra, and in this conversation he was saying that every cardiac surgeon knows that there is a ventricle piece inside of our hearts that no surgeon touches. And I said to myself, wow, no surgeon touches this particular piece because of the spiritual context that it connects us with everything. So when we think of ladies of courage, and there are so many, you know, we could mention and name, you know, whether it's Harriet Tubman or Victoria Woodhull or Elizabeth Cady Stanton or, you know, Susan B. Anthony or any of them. I mean, when you come to Lilydale, you see those pioneers who were there during this change. And now we are in the year where we're celebrating the vote for women being 100 years, that we have been acknowledged to be allowed to have our voice. And this is the vote. The vote, think about it. The vote is a soft power. By entering and voting, you are using that soft power from within your heart. Now, I'm not telling you how to vote, or, you know, you have to find out where to vote according to your registration. But the love that these ladies put forward and the courage that they put forward to give us the right to exercise this soft power, it's like, wow, this is just amazing. Now, let's even take it at another level. When we start talking about the heart and that connection, we're talking about various different emotions. Another soft power is understanding. You know, how I understand what it is that we're going through. Now, people have said to me, oh, but gosh, Patricia, coronavirus, what are your ideas about it? And one of the things that came up for me is, yes, there is this idea of being quarantined. There is this idea of asking masses of people to go into solitude. To go into solitude. How many times have any of us gone on retreat to go into solitude? Is Spirit asking us to go into solitude, to listen to our inner voices, to listen to Spirit, to understand what it could possibly be for this new dream that is coming? Obviously, we look at it and we say, well, Corona, that's a heck of a way to do this, Patricia, you know, I mean, really. But let's face it, how many of us know friends and family that wouldn't stop long enough to take a 5-minute interval to meditate, to be able to look inside themselves to say, hey, what's going on here? Who am I loving? Where is my courage? Who do I trust? Okay, trust. I've heard that. Oh, Patricia, I worked for a company 30 years. I trusted I'd have this pension. I put my money in the stock market. I trusted. And then all of a sudden, these things are topsy-turvy. What again's the message? Trusting ourselves. We create realities through our thoughts, through our minds, through our hearts. And as spiritualists, we know this because we know that our soft power comes from those aspects of all I think, all I feel, and all I do. Those are our soft powers as spiritualists. And yet, when we get into these discordant emotions, we are now being tested of, well, okay, can we get back to our soft powers and trust ourselves and trust Spirit? Trusting Spirit. Whoa, what a test. You know, I mean, we look at the outside world and I turn around and I say, oh my gosh, am I blessed to be a spiritualist? Because I have an inside world. I have a world that has no ending and that has support from the other side. And that you're able to go inside, and here's another big, big soft power. Meditation. Wow. Soft power, where we get to connect with all that is. Not only for our own personal understanding, but for healing. Healing our body, our mind, our spirit, and to do distant healing. To create out of what's seemingly nothing, what we can't see, to be able to put those energies and the thoughts out there. And I know that there are a number of spiritual teachers and leaders that are saying this. Deepak Chopra and I were in a film together called I, God. And Deepak, on Monday at 3 o'clock, is doing a worldwide meditation. And he wants millions of people to look at all the epidemics, not just this coronavirus, but the epidemic of homelessness, the epidemic of loneliness, the epidemic of economic failures, all these, so that we all can be uplifted. And, You can connect with him on his Facebook page or Instagram if you want to join this 3 o'clock on Monday. To be able to spend those moments connecting in meditation. Now, as spiritualists, what a soft power that we have had. What a soft power. You know, I think about Andrew Jackson Davis and him going inside and connecting with all that is. He was the one that first discovered the planet Neptune and Pluto, decades before astronomers did. You want to talk about power? He exceeded telescopes. It puts me in awe of what we are capable of doing. Now you got Dr. Joe Dispenza, who is going around the country with his fine medical equipment that has been testing everything as we as spiritualists have known. Okay, he's putting electrodes on the head. He's getting everybody from beta to alpha to theta to gamma. Now, in meditation, we shift our brain waves from beta, which is this rapid thing where I'm talking now, to alpha, to theta. And Dr. Oz and Dr. Daniel Amen put those electrodes on Teresa Caputo and found out that she connected with spirit only when she was in a theta state. Now, Dispenza is connecting health when we get into the gamma state. And that's using the pituitary and the pineal gland in harmony to get us into the sort of awakened, a low consciousness. This is why he wakes up people at 4 o'clock in the morning to do meditations. In fact, Wayne Dyer used to meditate, and the Dalai Lama, at 4 a.m. You know, it's like you've gone into these different levels of sleep, and it is at this time that you can create this. So here we are with the time change. We may feel as though that we're still asleep, and that when we go into meditation or that we do this service here, that we can get into these deeper states of soft power. You know, when you listen to Dispenza and he tells you how he cured himself through meditation. I mean, yes, he was in a triathlon, hit by SUV, told he was never going to walk again. But as spiritualists, how many miracles have we seen? But we have to get out of this beta, outside world state of consciousness. Now, women and Women's Day, they understood that there was more. I mean, I don't know. I have our guides and spirit loved ones have never came to me and said, listen, you need to control and manipulate to get what you want. You know, they said, you need to be who you are. You need to shine your light. You need to show who you are. And that's what women have done historically. You know, yes, we're talking about present-day women, whether it's, you know, the ones politically or otherwise that have influenced us. Look at the young woman, Greta Thunberg, who's influenced with her soft power as a child. I run the children's program in Lilydale. It is my greatest joy. And these kids have this soft power because they are so automatically connected to spirit. And we were blessed last year because a writer from Harper's Magazine came and got to see the kids. And she absolutely fell in love because here she saw this soft power. That's right. In these children, there is this soft power. where you get them to do hands-on healing and there's no obstacles. You get them to do mediumship and there's no obstacles. I'll never forget, during this one time, we had this one little girl and her name was Rachel, and we had another little girl, her name is Chloe. And we do a children's service during Children's Week, and the children do the entire thing. They're the mediums, they're the healers, they're everybody. So this little 7-year-old girl named Rachel is facing her, friends, and she turns around and she describes this woman who has blonde hair, etc., and to a T. And this little girl, Chloe, raises her hand. And she says, "That's my mom." And she says, "Your mother's sorry about the accident, but that she'll always be with you." And then she answered, she says, "But you gotta be a nicer girl." Well, needless to say, Chloe had some rough issues. But after that message, we went to the Thursday night talent show for the kids, and Chloe walked up to me and said, "Give me a hug." This is, see, it's this soft power, a spirit, meditation, spirit, the soft powers in which we know that even whether we look at Mary Todd, who brought into the White House the soft power. We're looking at the fact that Nettie Colburn was able, as a child, to talk to the President of the United States, and yet everybody talks about Lincoln being the most terrific president. And yet, it was soft powers. It was by being able to compromise. It was by being able to put it together. Another president who had soft powers is James Earl Carter. And what is his soft power? The fact that he just goes and does his job. And yes, he too, during a 4-year administration, never caused a war. But I gotta tell you a secret, having known him and his wife pretty well, he always listened to Rosalind. She always reminded him of his soft powers. And do you know the other part of that is the soft powers of writing a book? How often do we think by that expression that that's a soft power? But so many people will tell you that there's a lot of power in books, whether it's the Quran, the Bible, or anything else. That is also a soft power. I ask you today, on a day where we celebrate the feminine, Women's Day, on a day where we celebrate the feminine inside each and every one of us, that special soft power that allows us to come forward with grace. Because when you think about it, it is that grace. It is that love that passes understanding. It is that moment when Spirit touches us that we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that we are loved. God bless you. Thank you.